The average cost to rebuild a modern automatic transmission is $4,800 to $6,200, and most of the time, it fails because of the driver, not the car. I've seen brand new SUVs cooked before 80,000 miles, all from stupid habits. But I've also seen Toyotas hit 350,000 miles with zero transmission work. Doing this will make your transmission last twice as long. Stick around for a bonus tip that 99% of mechanics never tell you. Habit number 12. Install an auxiliary transmission cooler. You know what cooks more transmissions than anything else? Heat. I'm not talking about a little summer sunshine. I'm talking about transmission fluid hitting 240, 250, even 260 degrees. That's death zone territory. Once that fluid starts breaking down, your clutches start slipping, seals get brittle, and next thing you know, you're sitting at a transmission shop staring down a $4,000 bill. And here's the kicker. Most factory coolers aren't enough, especially if you tow, live in a hot climate, or do a lot of stop-and-go driving. I've seen perfectly good trucks, Rams, Silverados, even Tacomas, kill their transmissions way too early just because they were running hot and didn't even know it. An auxiliary transmission cooler fixes that. It's a separate radiator just for your transmission fluid. Brands like B and M and Derail have been solid for decades. I've installed dozens, never had one fail. You drop fluid temps by 30, sometimes even 50 degrees. That's the difference between a transmission lasting 120,000 miles and one going past 300,000. If you ask me, it should come standard on every automatic. But the manufacturers save a buck and you pay the price, unless you get ahead of it. Want your transmission to live longer? Cool it down. Simple as that. But if you really want to push your mileage into legend territory, there's another habit you need to know. Most folks never think twice about it, but it makes a massive difference. Habit number 11. Use the right transmission fluid. You want to kill your transmission fast? Use the wrong fluid. I've seen it too many times. Someone walks into an auto parts store, grabs a bottle that says ATF on it, dumps it in, and boom, game over. Doesn't matter if you drive an automatic, a manual, or one of those fragile CVTs. The wrong fluid wrecks everything. Automatic transmissions rely on very specific fluid properties, friction, viscosity, and detergent levels. Manual gearboxes, different story, and CVTs, they're picky as hell. You can't just use what's on sale. Let me break it down for you. For Toyota or Lexus, use Toyota WS or newer models and ATF TIV for new models. Don't cheap out. Valvoline Max Life is a safe aftermarket alternative if you're in a pinch. Hondas and Acuras need DW1 for autos and MTF for manuals. Amsoil and Idemitsu both make solid versions. In Nissans, the CVTs take NS3 or NS2, depending on the model. Do not use generic ATF. You'll shred the belt in no time. GM models work better with Dexron 6 for most modern autos. AC Delco and Valvoline both make excellent versions. For Ford, check carefully. Some use Mercon LV, others take Mercon V. Get it wrong and you'll know it. For Hyundai or Kia, many use SP4 or SPH4RR. Buy OEM or go with Idemitsu or Ravenol. On manual transmissions, preferably Redline MTL, Amsoil manual transmission fluid, or OEM fluid only. Check the dipstick or owner's manual. Some cars even say, use only this fluid right on the stick. That's not a suggestion, that's a warning. Using the right fluid is one of the smartest things you can do. But if you're serious about long-term reliability, wait till you hear what most people skip every single morning without realizing what it's costing them. Habit number 10. Warm up your engine before driving. Stop believing those who tell you modern cars don't need to warm up. That's lazy advice. usually from someone who's never paid for a transmission rebuild out of pocket. Here's the truth. When it's cold outside, your transmission fluid thickens up like molasses. It doesn't flow right. Your internal seals stiffen. The pressure builds wrong. You start driving hard right away, you're grinding your transmission from the inside. Slow, silent damage that adds up over time. I've seen perfectly good Toyotas, Subarus, and Chevys limp into my shop midwinter with nasty cold shift issues. You ask the owner and they'll say, "Yeah, I just start it and go." Well, congratulations. You've just shaved years off your transmission's life. Let your car idle for a minute or two in cold weather. Not 10 minutes like it's 1982, just long enough for the idle to drop and the fluid to start moving. Especially if it's under 40 degrees Fahrenheit, and while you're at it, keep the revs light. Don't be the guy doing 45 in a school zone 2 blocks from home. Warming up protects not just your engine, but your entire drivetrain, including that expensive transmission. But there's another habit that takes just a few seconds, and it can save you years of wear if you get it right. Habit number 9. Never shift while the car is moving. You want to tear your transmission apart without even realizing it? Keep shifting into gear while the car's still rolling. I see it all the time. Folks backing out of a driveway, then throwing it into drive before they've even stopped. Or worse, popping it into park while the car is still creeping forward. That clunk you hear? Yeah, that's your transmission screaming for mercy. Let me be clear, your transmission is not a brake. It's not built to stop the momentum of a moving vehicle. That job belongs to your brake system. When you shift while the car is still moving, you're grinding internal parts. Things like the parking pawl, clutch packs, and gear sets. One slip, one snap, and you're looking at a full teardown. A customer with a low mileage Camry, barely 50,000 miles. Transmission was shot. Turns out she had a habit of nudging into park before the car stopped. Over time, that little nudge cost her $3,000. Here's the rule. Come to a full stop. Foot on the brake, then shift. Smooth shifting keeps your internals happy. If this helped you out, hit like, share it with a lead foot friend, and subscribe. I've got more real advice most shops won't give you. Habit number 8. Avoid aggressive driving and hard shifting. You want to burn out your transmission fast? Drive like you're in a race you're not winning. I've seen people treat their daily drivers like track cars. Hard launches, red line shifts, full throttle kicks on every green light. That might feel fun for a minute, but what it's really doing is beating your transmission to death. Every time you slam the gas and force a shift under load, you're putting massive pressure on internal components, clutch packs, planetary gears, torque converters. They're built to handle stress. Yeah, but not that kind of stress every single day. CVTs? Forget it. Those things were never designed for that kind of abuse. I've seen Altimas with smoke belt drives before 70,000 miles, just because someone couldn't stop flooring it. Even traditional automatics like the ones in older Fords or GM trucks will wear out way faster with rough driving. I had a customer with a 2012 Silverado. Transmission was jerking hard at 60,000 miles. Guy drove it like he stole it every day. Said he liked feeling the shifts. Well, now he's feeling the rebuild. Drive smooth, ease into it. Let your transmission shift on its terms, not yours. Treat it like a partner, not a punching bag. But if you want that smooth shifting to last for the long haul, it depends on what you do under the car, not just behind the wheel. Habit number 7, get a transmission service, not just a fluid change. You think getting a quick transmission flush at a lube shop is enough? No. Let me tell you something most chains won't. Flushing dirty fluid through a filthy transmission doesn't clean anything. It just pushes gunk around. Doesn't change the filter, doesn't drop the pan, doesn't let anyone actually see what's going on inside. A real transmission service means dropping the pan, replacing the filter, inspecting for metal shavings, and putting in fresh, correct fluid. That's how you keep things clean and catch problems early, like worn clutch material or a clogged solenoid. I had a guy with a Chrysler 300 come in after getting a flush at a quick lube place. No pan drop, no filter change. 2 weeks later, transmission started slipping. They just stirred the dirt, didn't remove it. Now it's in the valve body, doing real damage. And let me say something about these so-called sealed transmissions. No dipstick doesn't mean no service. It just means the manufacturer doesn't want you checking it. Why? So you bring it back to them for overpriced maintenance, or worse, a full rebuild. I've serviced sealed transmissions on Toyotas, Audis, even Hyundais. You still need to change the fluid. You still need to inspect the pan. Sealed is just marketing, not magic. Here's my rule of thumb. Every 30,000 to 60,000 miles for most vehicles. Heavy towing? Closer to 30,000. Honda? Use OEM fluid and stay on schedule. Sealed? Still service it, still matters. Find a real shop, one that does it right. And don't wait until you feel a slip. By then, it's usually too late. If you really want to stay in control of how your transmission behaves, there's one overlooked system that quietly runs the whole show. Habit number 6. Don't ignore transmission control module issues. If your transmission is the muscle, the TCM is the brain. And when the brain glitches, the whole system goes stupid. Modern transmissions don't just shift based on speed and throttle. They rely on the TCM to decide when and how to shift, based on dozens of inputs: engine load, wheel speed, throttle position, temperature. If that module starts acting up, your transmission will start hunting for gears, slamming into drive, or staying stuck in one gear like it's in a coma. And here's the scary part. It's electronic. So it can fail without leaking, grinding, or making a sound. Just a dashboard light. Or maybe no warning at all. So here's what you do. If you're getting weird shift behavior, don't assume it's mechanical. Scan the TCM for codes. Check for software updates. If you've had battery issues, know that a voltage dip can corrupt TCM memory. And if you drive a Chevy and suspect your TCM's acting up, I walk you through a simple reset, no tools needed, in the video linked right here on screen. Your transmission depends on a smart, stable brain. Keep that TCM healthy, or your perfectly good gearbox could get blamed for problems it didn't cause. Smooth driving gives your transmission the breathing room it needs to stay strong. But when the pressure kicks up, under weight, heat, and long miles, there's another habit that separates the transmissions that survive from the ones that don't. Habit number 5. Don't ride the brake or coast in neutral. You might think you're driving smart, saving your brakes, saving gas. But if you're riding the brake or coasting in neutral, you're actually killing your transmission. Let's start with riding the brake. Ever follow someone down a hill and see their brake lights lit the entire way? That's not careful driving. That's cooking your transmission. Especially on automatics, when the torque converter's still engaged. Riding the brake builds up heat fast. I've pulled pans off family SUVs and seen scorched fluid just from too much downhill braking. Now coasting in neutral? Even worse. A lot of folks think popping it into neutral saves fuel. It doesn't. Modern fuel injection already cuts fuel when you coast in gear. But what neutral does do is drop hydraulic pressure inside your transmission. That means less lubrication, less cooling, and more wear, especially if you shift back into gear while still rolling. Drive in gear. Brake smart. Don't be cute. Be consistent. That's how you keep your transmission alive. But when the pressure kicks up, under weight, heat, and long miles, there's another habit that separates the transmissions that survive from the ones that don't. Habit number 4. Don't tow or haul without proper cooling. Just because your truck can tow doesn't mean it's ready to. I don't care what the brochure says. If you're pulling a trailer, Hauling lumber or loading the back of your SUV with concrete bags from Home Depot, you're putting real heat on that transmission, and heat, like I've said before, is the silent killer. Factory coolers? They're fine for grandma's groceries, but load that vehicle up, especially in hot weather or over long grades, and your fluid temps can shoot past 240 degrees Fahrenheit in minutes. That's the danger zone. Above that, fluid breaks down, clutches start slipping, and seals get cooked. I've seen it firsthand. A guy brought me his F-150 5.0-liter V8, claimed he barely towed a couple of jet skis. Fluid was dark, smelled burnt. Transmission was slipping like crazy. He didn't have an auxiliary cooler. If you tow or haul anything with any regularity, install a heavy-duty transmission cooler. Stacked plate from Derail or B&M, those are top tier. Easy insurance, keeps fluid where it belongs, under 200 degrees Fahrenheit. And for the love of your transmission, use tow haul mode if your truck has it. It adjusts shift points and helps control temps. Habit number 3, let off the gas when shifting manually. This one's for all of you with paddle shifters or Tiptronic setups. Stop slapping through gears like you're playing a video game. I get it. Manual mode makes you feel more in control. You want to drive the car, not just sit in it? That's fine. But here's the problem. Most folks keep their foot buried in the gas while upshifting, thinking the transmission will just handle it. It won't. When you shift under full throttle without letting off the gas, you're throwing the transmission into the next gear under maximum load. That slams the clutch packs, spikes internal pressure, and builds heat fast. Over time, you're chewing up the exact components that manual mode was supposed to give you more control over. Some guy with a VW GTI, fun little car, come in complaining of harsh shifts. He used manual mode every day, but never lifted off the gas. His mechatronics unit was fried, and his clutch packs weren't far behind. Here's what you do. Just a slight lift off the throttle during upshifts. Doesn't have to be dramatic. It'll shift smoother, last longer, and give you better control. Manual mode's a tool, not a toy. Treat it that way. There's another habit though, one that has nothing to do with buttons or paddles, and it plays a massive role in how hard your transmission has to work. Habit number 2, don't overload your vehicle. Just because it fits doesn't mean it's fine. I've seen people stuff their cars like a moving truck. Furniture, tools, bags of concrete, you name it. It still drives fine, they say. Yeah, until it doesn't. Your transmission isn't just pushing the car, it's pushing the weight. And when you overload your vehicle, you're making that transmission work twice as hard, especially when accelerating, stopping, or climbing hills. That's added strain on gears, clutches, and your torque converter. And every time you ask it to do more than it was built for, you're shaving life off it. Check your owner's manual or the label inside your door frame. It tells you how much weight your car can safely handle. That includes passengers, cargo, and even tongue weight from a trailer. If you haul heavy often, consider a vehicle built for it, with proper suspension and cooling. If not, pack light and be smart. Lightening the load takes pressure off everything, and your transmission will feel the difference. Even so, there's one last habit that protects your transmission without even turning a wheel. And most drivers overlook it every single day. Habit number 1, use parking brake every time. You park your car, throw it in P, and walk away. Seems harmless, right? Wrong. You just dump the full weight of your car onto a tiny little part inside your transmission called the parking pawl. That thing's no thicker than your finger, and it's the only thing stopping your car from rolling when you don't set the parking brake. Every time you skip the e-brake, especially on a hill, that pal slams into place and holds your entire vehicle in position. Over time, it wears out. It can snap, and when it does, your car could roll your transmission could crack. Or both. Here's the right way. Come to a full stop. Press the parking brake, then shift into park. Do it every time, even on flat ground. It keeps stress off the transmission, holds your car steady, and builds good habits. You wouldn't let your car idle in gear all night, right? Same deal. Take 2 seconds, save thousands. Now that you know how to double the life of your transmission with the right habits, there's one more crucial piece drivers overlook, and it can wreck your gearbox without warning. In my next video, I'll show you the 11 hidden symptoms of a bad transmission shift solenoid that only real mechanics recognize. Click the video on screen now to discover the signs before your transmission pays the price.